I never used to be organized. I went through a program early on, my first year in business, and this person was in a mastermind with me. I saw what he was doing, and he did a guest expert training in that mastermind. And I was like, I need to do this. Like, I didn't even have a calendar. I literally did not work from a Google Calendar back then. Talk about winging it, right? I mean, everybody's got their own style, but I look at what I do today, there's no way I could operate without a calendar. And if you want to take this serious and it's more than just a hobby for you, which if you're in this room, I believe it is, you got to work from a calendar. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I promise you, like, I resisted it for so long. And when I started, everything changed. But that person was showing me his calendar, how dialed in it was. I joined his program. It was $5,000. And essentially, it was what I'm going to show you guys in this lesson. There was more to it, but I'm going to give you guys a 20% that had the biggest impact in my business over the last few years. So this is time, capacity, and identity. So if you're going to plan out your year ahead, you must know your capacity. What can you take on? How much time do you have available? The goal of this lesson is you're going to calculate your ideal weekly and daily work availability, calibrate your calendar, organize your folders, implement my best time-saving strategies, and determine your work and client capacity. Then you identify the 20% of your efforts that produces 80% of the results and focus on efficiency. So what we're going to do first is calculate your availability. Outline your perfect work week. What kind of capacity you can take on from a delivery standpoint with your customers or clients. Calibrate your calendar. I'm going to go through my digital asset organization. If you guys have worked with me in the past, you've probably done some form of this, but what happens over the course of the year, right? Let me know if you guys agree. You just start dumping things in different folders and different bookmarks. It gets pretty messy, right? We'll talk about the 80-20 rule and reflection and recalibration. All right, so who here is full-time? This is a full-time thing for you. You're all in. So if you're full-time, we're going to help you determine your daily and weekly working hours, including break times. If you're part-time, just put PT in the comments. So if you're part-time, write down, same thing, write down your current main job schedule. We want that on the calendar, obviously, right? We want your personal stuff on the calendar, all of those things. And then you're going to look at the white space left over and determine your daily and weekly working hours from the leftover availability in your day. And what you're going to do is look at the 20% that is required to get results. You're going to start making decisions about what you get to leave behind so you can get full time if that's your goal. So in the workbook, and this is what I want to take a little bit of time to do right now. What days are you off, right? Let's have your boundaries. What days are you off? What hours can you have available? And we're just going to jot it down before you can put it on the calendar. For me, it's 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. I take a break between 1 and 2 p.m. If you have multiple breaks, put that in there. Before we do that, I want to go into what is your perfect work week? And whether you're part-time or full-time, it's been so helpful for me to block out my days and time slots and theme them. In the past, I would have client calls, I would have group coaching calls, team meeting. You know, it's like, no wonder I'm not getting to the marketing. It's like, how do I even go out there and run free trainings and sales events and things like that? Because if that's what I'm doing every day and every day is multiple departments, it's scattered. I started implementing blocked themes, and it's been one of the best things I've ever done. I like to do it in department phases. So you have marketing, right? This is your community. If you have a community, content, ads, email, referrals, collaborations. And then you have sales, messaging. You're in Messenger or email, calls, trainings, webinars, enrollment events, however your sales process looks. And then you have fulfillment. This is also being in your paid community or your paying customer clients, communication with them, calls, creating assets and curriculum, things like that, and support. Then you have operations. This is the tech, the automations, finances, CRM, team. And last but not least is education and creation, learning and development, creating assets. So the themes I focus on are these core four at the top because, you know, education's on my calendar. It's just one of those things I do daily. And it's one of the things that isn't really up to me. If I join a coaching program, it's when are those calls on the calendar? That's where I'm going. Theming out each day, or if you're only having one day, you do blocks on the calendar for that. So here's what this would look like. The second part of the workbook exercise we're going to work on is you're going to go through, and once you have your availability, theme out the availability that you do have and the days and the time slots available. So I'll give you an example. Monday's my creation day. This is when I'm working on ads, curriculum, offers and assets. And these things are like, what am I doing to give out to the market to give free value? What trainings am I putting on the calendar? Workshops, challenges, courses, funnels, content, emails, anything I'm doing with it where I'm creating. That's mostly Monday, right? There's some overlap. Like I have a short team meeting on Mondays, but overall the theme of that day is creation. Tuesday is marketing and sales. This is when I'm doing my free trainings, right? During my free trainings, sometimes I make an offer. Sometimes they're more like a webinar style where it's a full on offer stack. So that's marketing and sales. So I host the trainings, I schedule emails, schedule content, interviews, and collabs. So whatever I'm creating on Monday, I'm putting into action on Tuesday. And then I have Wednesday. Wednesday and Thursday are my fulfillment days. So this is where I have all of my, I'd say all, but most of my coaching calls. I have Academy Power Hour, and I coach in two of Russell Brunson's programs, Offer Lab and Affiliate Evolution. So this is me in full on delivery. In between those sessions, this is my time to go into our communities, to give feedback, answer questions, things of that sort. And then on Thursdays, one-on-one calls. I keep Thursday open. So you'll see my calendar. There's a lot of white space on Thursdays because I want to keep my Calendly link available for the clients that get one-on-ones with me. And then Friday's all operational. We have individual meetings with everybody on the team, and this is going over finances, data, refining the customer portal, and then off Sunday and Saturday. Not everybody can obviously do this, but even if you are part-time and you have blocks available, think about the most actionable things that you could put on your calendar that represent your marketing and sales, fulfillment, and operations. And ultimately, what I want you to get to is what type of offer are you selling? Affiliate course, coaching, one-on-one done for you? Because looking at your capacity, and if you're doing all these things and you're over capacity, it's time to, we're going to talk about this a lot today, is letting some things go. So thinking about how much delivery support do you provide? Because every course, whether you're affiliate course, done for you, done with you, coaching, has some level of support. You have admin, onboarding, offboarding, customer support, making sure that people are getting access to the things, live calls, messenger, email, community done for you, done with you. So it just depends on what you're providing. And I want you to come up with a number of how many clients ideally do you feel comfortable taking on in January, the first month of the year. So you have affiliates, right? Affiliates have little to no delivery, 1% to 2% of your working hours. So once you know your working hours, what's 1% to 2%? That's probably what you need on the calendar for delivery. Unless if you're offering bonuses that you're supporting them with, like I've done 8-week coaching programs as a bonus for certain affiliate offers I've done. So that's heavy fulfillment. But most of the time, it's a little to no delivery. Course, you have light delivery. Coaching program is medium delivery. I'd say it's about 25%. So if you have 40 hours a week, about 10 hours is going to be for delivery. So if you look at my Wednesday, Thursday, it's about that. So maybe a little bit more, a little bit less some weeks. If you're doing done for you, you have heavy delivery. That's over 50% of your time available. Consider that when we get to the point today where you're going to decide what core offer are you taking to the new year. If you are part-time, I'm not saying don't do a coaching program or done for you, but can you make support and delivery more simplified until you take it full-time? If you're full-time, 40-hour work week, so let's give you an example. If you're 40 hours a week and you're an affiliate, your delivery on the calendar is probably under 1 hour. If you're selling an online course without calls and things like that, it's probably about 2 to 4 hours. Just making sure that they're supported, they're getting access, dealing with any support requests. A coaching program, about 10 hours, and done for you is about 20 hours. If you do the math from the availability times the percentage. So what I want you guys to do is go to the workbook, and we're going to spend a little time on this today. If you guys already know this, it shouldn't take that long. This should take maybe 5 minutes to put out your availability, the time slots that you do have available to work on your business. And then over here is theming out the blocks for each day. All right. And if you, like I said, you might have to double up on certain things or do them all on Saturday. Maybe your only day is Saturday and you're doing content creation in the morning, marketing in the late morning, right? So you just kind of build that out. I want you guys to go through this exercise, not only to like understand your availability before you take on a massive goal and so many different projects, to determine like, what do you feel comfortable with? Like if you think about January with your current model, if it's affiliate or courses, it's probably not a limitation to you for the most part, unless if you are offering different levels of support. But if you're coaching or doing done for you, how many hours do you have? What percent, right? It's going to be depending on what you chose. If you have affiliate, less than 2%. If it's a course, 5 to 10% of your total amount of weekly available hours. If you're coaching, it's going to be about a fourth of the hours you have availability. And if it's done for you, it's gonna be about 50% or more. So I want you to write this out in the comments for me. At my blank model, so are you doing done for you, coaching, course, affiliate, you have with blank number of hours. So if it's 40 hours a week, maybe it's more, maybe it's less. If it's part-time, like how many hours do you have available per week? And then what's the percentage based on the model you chose? Less than 2% for affiliate, 5% for course, 25% for coaching or done with you, and done for you 50% plus. I can sustainably serve X number of clients per month. Where do you feel comfortable at that? Right. We had somebody, I'm not calling anybody out, but somebody said they want to make $5 million in 2026. And it's just an example of like targets are great and goals are great, but they could lead to like false expectations. And then you let yourself down and you get upset and things all get all wonky, right? But when you understand your capacity and actually look at your calendar to determine how much time you have and what your delivery model is and how many clients can you sustainably take, sure, maybe you can do 5 million. If you have full capacity and you've got a really good model and you're charging maybe $100,000, you could take on 50 clients and hit it, right? So it just depends on all of those factors. So I'm not calling anybody out. I'm just saying I know that person's pretty new and I'm like, oh, I want to set reasonable expectations for you guys. Don't leave this event with some crazy goal and then like realize January that there's no way that's going to happen. Then it messes you all up. Like I said, especially with a coaching model group, it could be, I don't want to say it could be infinite, but like if you offer zero support and you're like, hey, I do a weekly call. If you come to it, you come to it. If you don't, you don't. I know most of us here, we do like to support clients and just take that into consideration, especially if it's laid out in the expectations or like part of your invitation. Okay, so now calendar. This might not be your style of working. But if what your style of working is right now is not working for you, I want to encourage you to get better at having a calendar. For now, working from pen and paper or a physical calendar could be good for you. But if your goal is freedom and you have big goals to impact a lot of people, it's probably going to look like bringing on some kind of support over the next year. And to have that, you have to have visibility with that one person or many people on your team. So this has been helpful for me, not just for myself, but for the team. I have everyone's team calendar on here. I could check off and check on and off their calendar and see what they're doing. So if I'm reaching out to them, I'm like, they're not getting back to me. I'm like, oh, Jeremy's on a call right now. You know what I mean? Things like that. So I've learned a lot over the years about calendars. It's not rocket science, but if you've never used it, it can be kind of confusing. Like, how do I create these events? How do I make them repeating? How do I color code them? But I'll give you guys just like an overview of what my calendar looks like. You probably can't see it well here, but you could see it's themed to creation on Mondays, marketing on Tuesdays, fulfillment and client success delivery on Wednesday, Thursdays, and then team operations on Friday. If I didn't have a team, I would still meet with myself. I would still go through the data. I would still go through the tech and all the things there. It's a good day to do it for me, at least. And then I want to show you something that has been a game changer for me since the beginning. I talked about that coach that I paid $5,000 to learn this stuff from. You know what sold me? He had me on a call, right? I was interested. And he said, hey, Doug, you're a big affiliate guy. Send me your affiliate link. And he timed me. I know he was timing me. So it took me 8 minutes just to grab my affiliate link. 8 minutes. And he knows. And he's like, how many times are you doing that a day? I'm like, it's what I do most of my day. He's like, why don't you have it saved somewhere? I'm like, oh, I didn't even think of that. Like, right? It's kind of common sense, right? But now if I need affiliate links, affiliate logins, I've got all my current affiliates that I click of a button, boom, right there. Click, grab the link. If I want to go to my older ones, I got a lot of older ones here. But this is bookmarks. And he did the math. He said 8 minutes. If you're doing that 10 times a day, that's 80 minutes. You're losing over an hour a day looking for links. And how many other things are we doing that with? So I'm going to show you guys some optimization here and then also get into some folder stuff as well. So the folders now, you probably don't need all these folders. I'll be honest, I set this up in his program. And there's some of these folders I don't have anything in or very few things in. You can lay this out if you know where you're going. Like I think this year we're going to start using a lot more of the folders I haven't in previous years, especially because now I'm more organized in these folders. So I'm going to give you guys a quick look under the hood. You can see this obviously, and you can set these up pretty easily on your computer. Choose the ones that make the most sense for you. If you want all of them and do what I did and years later you eventually start using them, that's fine. But I also want to show you the inner structure. But same principle. If you're spending more than a few minutes every time you're looking for something, then it's time to get plugged into this. And if you are using this, what are your folders looking like right now? If I showed you guys my folders last week, they're organized, but it became chaos in the organized folders, right? Just saving stuff over the last year. This is the time to recalibrate your folders. I'll show you a very simple way without having to go through everything all at once. And I did. I went a little bit more. I got down the rabbit hole, but I'll show you guys a tour of how I operate and organize inside of the folders too to keep me finding things very quickly. Now, same thing on your Google Drive. If you're using Google Drive, I create the same exact folders on my Drive. And there are softwares back then he actually had us sync them. And I recently have undone that for things they changed with Google and I haven't reset that up. But at the end of the week, I will go and back up my computer folders to the drive. I considered connecting them again. If you guys are techie, you probably have that. But I remember it was doing something wonky. So to me, it's not that big of a deal to just back them up. And that way you always have it. If you do traveling or you're on the road and you're like, oh, I don't have that slide presentation, you know what I mean? Whatever it is, it's good to have this in the cloud so you can access it. Or if your computer goes down, whatever the reason is. After that, I'm gonna show you guys some things with email. How many emails you guys got in your inbox? Be honest. If you know the number, take a glance at your inbox. I had a couple thousand. I'm gonna show you guys how to get to inbox 0 in just a few minutes today. Not by going through thousands of emails. It's just a quick recalibration of your labels and you could highlight the most important things. But my goal, my intention for the year ahead is to make sure at least the latest is at the end of the week. If I want to try to do it at the end of the day, but by the end of the week, I have time on my calendar to go back and make sure I'm sorting everything and can maintain inbox 0. It's not a core goal, but I just know like when you guys are looking at your email and you see that number and it's in the hundreds or thousands, it's super overwhelming, right? Am I wrong in that? It's like subconsciously, it's got to be like, I don't know, it feels clear. Like when you clean your environment, you clean your office space, it feels good, right? Same thing with your digital. So I'll show you guys how I did that for my personal and how I did it for my business email. So let's get into that and we'll come back to show you guys a few things around here. This will probably be a lesson you come back to. If you're watching the recording, you're going to pause right now. You can set this up now and follow suit. So now let me just show you the week I showed you guys as an example. I built out a few weeks ahead as an example. So this is the template. Now you can color code if you choose to. It helps me. So when something new pops up, so let's say if a client books on Thursday, that's the only time available. Before when I was letting them schedule any time, it was just popping up at times where I should be focused on something else. It was distracting. And like I love doing those calls, but if I felt like if it's creation day, it's hard to be creative when I know that there's a call at the end of the day or somewhere in the day. But anyway, when they book a call, it'll pop up in black. So it stands out right away. And then I right click and I'll change it to the color. It's like a light blue color I use for client calls. So now choose colors that you want to do. If you guys see here, everything purple is personal. Add the personal time to your calendar first. And then if you're working full time, you probably got to put your job in there somewhere, right? Now we're looking at the white space. And I want you to think about the categories, the themes we talked about, and add in that space for creation. So I create that as blue. So let's say if I create a new event here, let's call this test. You set the date and time. If you want to repeat, it gives you all kinds of options here. It could be daily, weekly on Thursday. So whatever day you're on here, it will tell you weekly on Thursday, every third Thursday. So and if you want to do custom, you can customize it. So I'm just going to leave it like that for now, but you could add guests if it's a guest call, you want to connect with people, or if it's more than just you on the call. The description, I'll tell you guys what I do with the description. On Sundays, I'll come into the description. This is where I actually optimize these blocks. So right now it just says creation. It's not going to stay that way because nothing gets done when I have a 3-hour block on the calendar called creation. Like this is how you would create that. And then you could adjust the time length. You can move it around wherever you want it. Okay. So yeah, this is blue for creation, marketing green, client success is green, calls with clients. I didn't want to make those green. I want them to stand out a bit more. Like red is like, that's my call. Some of these things can change, but client calls, I'm there. Like it's red is the priority of the week. It's client success calls. And then we have team meetings and operations in like a bluish purple color. We have more fulfillment. So like I said, like this is the day's theme is creation on Monday, but I still do a little bit of everything here, right? So I'll do a little bit of client success at the end of the day. So I'll go into both of my communities, see if there's anything outstanding that needs eyes on it. So the last hour of the day, it's usually low energy stuff for me. Put that on the counter towards the end of the day for that. This is more like sales. It's marketing and sales. This is marketing day. So I have marketing in green. This is me applying the things I created and putting into action, sending out the emails, making the posts, running my free training. So I make sales events this color here. So even if it's a free training, I usually make some kind of offer or I'm seeding something I'm doing later this month. So that's my sales process. You guys will see I don't have a sales day. If I didn't have Jeremy's the head of customer success. And that's his role to make sure that our customers are being supported and we support them. So we hope that they work more with us in the future. My sales efforts is more about marketing and doing like the highest leverage thing I can do in my business is being on camera and creating content and free trainings and running workshops and running 5-day challenges. So that's why my calendar, the top 20% in 2026 is going to be mostly that. And if you don't have a salesperson, that's why I love one to many, because you don't even really need to put a bunch of calls on your calendar if you're doing one to many. So that's something we've always done. And even when Jeremy does get on a call, most of you guys probably in this room have talked to Jeremy. It's not really trying to sell, it's inviting you into the offer you already just saw. And that's why it helps with the one to many model. All right, then this stuff's more personal too down here. I didn't make it purple though. This is like quality time with Kelsey. I keep it kind of open, but my goal is to be done working at 5 p.m. Not every night, but ideally, this is ideal calendar, right? So it's not perfect every week. My ideal evening is I'm resting and watching some kind of YouTube video or course I just bought or reading a book, and I wind down for the night. All right, so then I have my days off marked Sunday, Saturday, Sunday. And then on Sunday, this is my reflection block. So this changes around, but Sunday nights, I'll come in and I look at the previous week and I'll rate myself, look at what did I miss? Let's get that rescheduled. And then that's where I go into the creation blocks. I'll show you guys the simple document you guys will come up with today. I don't use a project management tool. I've tried all of them. I'm going to show you guys simple systems today in future lessons, but I'll come in here and I'll break this 3-hour block up into usually 3 to sometimes 6 mini tasks or priority tasks. And then I'll name them and then I'll put specific notes in the description, right? Things that help me just stay focused on that thing that's getting me closer to my weekly priorities, which get me closer to my monthly milestones and my quarterly rocks. So you guys will have all of that. You know exactly what you're doing down to the hours on your calendar. And this is where you probably spend most of your time over the next, few weeks getting that set up for at least January. You guys will have the framework for the year, but you're not going to go do that for the year. It'd be crazy because things are going to change. So at least I want you to do this on a weekly basis. So put that time on your calendar somewhere, maybe it's Friday somewhere, or maybe Saturday or even a Sunday evening, just to go through that process. All right, so that's calendar. Next, I want to show you what I've done. I've been working from bookmarks, as you guys know, for a while now. And there's a lot of things you can do. I want to keep it simple. There's, group tabs and all of this. So if you guys do that and it works for you, awesome. But one thing I noticed was I'd have all these tabs up on my computer. I'm like afraid to X them out, or what if my power goes out or I have to shut down my computer, so I don't. And sometimes it's good to, reset the computer every now and then. You guys feel the same way, right? You're like, I can't lose these tabs. And maybe you do other things to bookmark them. But this is what I did. I thought about what am I doing, right? My themed blocks. What tabs do I have open when I'm doing those things? So these are the top things I could think of. And I'm sure there'll be more that come up in future weeks. But let's say if I were to shut down everything, I can come in here. If let's say I have no tabs open, I go to here and I click start. Instead of clicking all of them, you just right click on here and hit open all 7. There you go. Now I've got my start of my workday ready to go. I got my Slack for the team. I've got my calendar open. I got both inboxes. I've got my school community. I've got my focused priorities. This is the document that I work from as my personal strategy that helps me get more done. Like I said, I've tried ClickUp. I've tried all the things, and it's just, I don't know. Simple to me works. And then my focus music. And I probably should get YouTube, whatever it's called, that has no ads. All right, so I'll close these out because, it's easy. One click of a button, they're open. Let's say I'm doing client work. I'll right click, open all 3 tabs. I'm in my community. I've got the Zoom link. I've got the templates. If I'm doing affiliate work or content, it opens up the most useful apps that I'm doing when I'm creating my presentations and things like that. If I'm doing my financials, right click, open up all my financials. I do that on the first Monday of the month. And then KPIs and reporting. So it pulls up all my stats, all the sheets that I log into. So that's workflows. That's why it's first, because it's usually one click of a button, all those things open up. And then I have ACA. That's, if you guys don't know, Audience Conversion Academy. I've got my client folder, I've got documents, and I have the community. And if I come up and I'm working on something, like, I noticed I usually have that tab open, I could go add that. So let's just say if I wanted to add, I'm in the Academy community, there's a specific document or a specific training. Right, I'll click here, and how you bookmark is you just click this star. I go find that folder, ACA, and I hit save. So now if I go back up to this, you could see it just added to my bookmarks. You could even right click and you can hit rename or edit, and I could rename it if that's too long. I could call this the ACA start or onboarding. Okay, so you guys could see that that changed here. ACA onboarding is very clear on what that is. Affiliate logins, education. So if you guys have worked with me in the past, you guys probably have this set up. And I just want to show you how I'm thinking about organizing these folders. Same kind of principle, create older and then create a 2026 folder or current folder. See how I did that? So I have my courses. These are all my older courses. It's insane. This is what my tabs looked like just recently. So I didn't have time to clean that up yet. I'll eventually go through and clean this stuff up, but I don't need to if it's not a priority because, if I need to go into a course that I want to go into, I just go to current and I go click and I'm in, right? Finances, I got my finances all organized. Life, marketing, operations. These are my programs that I'm a coach in or that I am the creator of. And you can see the older folder kind of got a little bit crazy. So I just made older and I dragged it into that one. All right, tools. Current, these are the tools I currently use that I use most of the time. Less used, I'm considering. I have a lot in considering because I see new tools and I bookmark them here. You guys ever see a tool like, oh, that looks interesting, right? Just bookmark it in the considering folder. And then I have older, this was mile long. I cleaned it up just before this training. Resources, and then this is the miscellaneous. This is like YouTube videos that I want to watch or like music I like. And then my brain dump for documents. I eventually have to go figure out where these would belong or if I even need them. So that's the folders. This is something I do want to help you guys at least get started today because I'm going to show you later. We're going to create something that I want you to have a folder for. So if you guys haven't used bookmarks before, you go to Google, just go to Google. And if you don't see this, you go to the three dots, you go to bookmarks and list, and you go to show bookmarks bar. Yeah, so right now it says hide. So right here would say show bookmarks bar. So you hit show, it's probably blank. Right click. And something you could do today, just put add folder and call it 2026 or, 2026 planning. Because I'm going to give you guys a bunch of documents and resources today. You might put that in a different folder later. You could change the name, things like that. But create a 2026 planning folder. Right now, you could go to the workbook. Right, let's save that one. Let's go to the classroom. Let's save that one. All right, what else do we have? We have your sheet. If you already have your sheet that you're working on, let's save that one. This will be for later. Show you guys something cool I'm working on for you guys. But yeah, now you have a little organized folder there. And you can, at least for now, I'd like to see you guys set up just a test. Set up one, create one called workflows. If you guys want to take a screenshot or write these down, or I just keep my computer here, head to Google. If you don't have bookmarks, set it up. If you guys have any questions, I'll walk you through it. If you already have this set up and you've worked with me, you probably do. What I want you to do is clean it up a little bit. And the best thing you could do is just go probably get rid of some of these folders, make one called miscellaneous and drop all the random folders into that. And we'll take care of that later. It's kind of like the dirt under the rug strategy. Yesterday, before I did this, I had folders all over here. There's a drop down arrow over here. If you click the drop down and you have more, this is what I want you to focus on. And it's probably not something we could do here today in its entirety, but at least if you understand the process, what you'll do is you'll go through this and you'll take, again, all of the folders, put them into like something called miscellaneous, and then create something that makes sense to you. This might be what you copy exactly, or you might come up with your own. But I like workflows, have my startup and the most important links when I'm working on specific tasks. Then I have my coaching program, like the core one. And then I have, again, affiliate logins, my courses and programs I'm in. So you might have some of my stuff listed in here under courses or programs, finance folder, life folder, marketing, operations, programs. These are the rest of my programs. And then you have tools, resources, miscellaneous, and planning, which honestly, planning would probably go into operations. So I have my 2026 planning here. I already have one created. All right, so I'll just delete that out. Okay, right click, delete. It's going to be the thing that saves you literally hours per day, especially if you have limited capacity. That's why we're talking about this right now, just after the capacity lesson.
Doug, where do you put your self-improvement stuff?
Health. So I've got life, health. Most of it's all here. I could probably organize this one a little bit better. I also have my KPIs. So I have my self-improvement scorecard over here.
Awesome KPI. Okay, that's where I'm looking.
Yeah, because this is like, I open this every night to like do my business tracking. And then my mission, I'm gonna start doing this one now that I'll show you guys that sheet today. So this is probably gonna replace this, or I'll do them at the same time if I choose to do both.
And then finances is where you put budget tracking.
Yeah, tracking would be here, 2026.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's, yeah, so I have like all my old ones, but these are my 2026 business, 2026 finance. There's a lesson in the pre-work. If you guys haven't done it, I know it's a little next level, but it's worth the watch and it's worth going through that one just to understand how to separate business and personal and track. It only takes me 2 hours a month. I do it on the first Monday of the month typically. We're going to come on back here. We're going to still keep this going. We're going to switch up the task though. If you want to continue doing what you're doing, that's fine too. All right, folder management. I'm going to keep this on the screen for you guys. So if you want to keep doing your bookmarks and that's feeling good for you, but you might want to just get the basics set up here. So I'm going to do a walkthrough to show you guys. Same kind of principle, you guys. I was a mess this week. It's organized, but within this organization, there's chaos. So it's time to clean it up. And I just want to show you guys a simple framework that helps me so I don't have to sort through hundreds, if not thousands of files to get cleaned up. And if I do need to find something that's older, I know exactly where to go. So company overview, I just go to my older. I don't have much in this one. This is one of the folders I don't use a lot of. I just have my mission, vision, values. So if you guys create whatever you're creating for planning, probably go in this folder and save it here. But now I have 2026 set up. So I have my mission, vision, values, offers, ICA, my customer journey, that's ideal customer avatar, messaging, team hub. So these are the types of things that would go in that folder. Don't worry about setting all that up later. You can come back and watch the recording and go back into each one and how I lay them out. But also like think of your own systems and how do you think about when you're working on these things. Marketing and sales, this is one that got really messy, right? So anyway, this is what it did look like. Actually, I cleaned it up. Never mind. It was way worse than that. But anyway, what you'll do is like, let's say if you're in here and it's a mess, you're just going to create two new folders. One's called 2026, one's called older, and then you're going to start dragging and dropping all the things you see here into those folders, right? Or at least you can highlight it all, drag it into the older folder. So now you have old. All right. So the new one, this is what I have in marketing and sales. I have advertising, marketing, and sales. In each one, I have videos, graphics, and documents. You're going to see this as a theme throughout my folder structure. Everything's by videos, graphics, and documents. Inside of videos, I have final and raw. If you guys do anything online, you probably download the raw one, right? And then you go and upload it. And I don't know if you guys do this or not, but I trim. Like I'll upload this video, it's gonna be massive. It would go in the raw folder. When I trim all these out, I'll put them in the final folder. So I know that those are the final versions of the cleaned up videos. Graphics, I don't have much going on in here yet because it's a new folder. But like I said, like when you start looking at everything in a folder, like how could you categorize those graphics? Are they cover photos? Are they website photos or graphics? Right. So that's how I think about organizing the folders. Marketing is email marketing, content marketing, apparel coming soon to a funnel near you. Hopefully, maybe we'll see. Sales. I don't have much going on in sales right now. But yeah, just organizing. This is the gist of what I want to get is like, here's what you're going to set up right now. Later, you can go in here and just build out older in 2026 and do that for every folder. If you don't have anything older, still do it because next year you're just going to take and drag this folder into the older and make a 2027 folder. This is something to stay organized, not just now, but in the future. Okay, so next we have team. Older 2026. I just have the names of each of the team members. If you don't have a team, you could make it and use it later. That's what I did. Data, quarter one, two, three, four. I just organize it by quarters. Finances, I just have all my bank information. Inside of each one has statements, basically. Like there's no statements yet because we're not in the new year yet, but that's where I'll save all my statements and the resources that go with specific, financial institutions that I use for my business and personal. So I have Amex Business Personal. I have Bank of America Business Personal. I have Chase Business Personal. All right, next one we have offers. So this one was the most used folder of 2025. And if we look in here, miscellaneous, nope, never mind. Oh, archived. Yeah, this one got a little bit messy. But let me go into current. I think I did this one a little bit different because it was a little bit messier. So yeah, inside of current folders, I have front end offers, conversion events. These are like my 5-day challenges and paid workshops, courses. These are my courses that I create, programs, premium workshops, and one-on-one clients. So if I go into front end offers, I have, what do I do for like front end for free? I do free trainings. I do different resources. I got my community and then miscellaneous. And then once I go in here, this is where I organized 2026 and older, right? So this one was a little bit messy ish, but I've done pretty good. So I know I'm down the rabbit hole here, but essentially, if you just know this, offers what are current, you might want an archived one or older folder for things you want to move out that you're not accessing regularly. But everything, I'll give you guys an example. So my programs, let me go into, I've got, these are programs I teach in. This is my partner program, VIP tier, academy, and elite. And I have older. So if I go into Audience Conversion Academy, it's same thing, videos, graphics, slides, documents. This one I add slides into because I do a lot of slide presentations for clients. So similar kind of principle here. I think you guys get the gist on most of that. Most of these continue the same way. I'll just give you guys a quick glimpse if you want to pause the video on the replay so you guys could see hiring. Not, I don't have much going on here yet. Legal, operations. These are just SOP folders by department. Clients, just names of my client folders. I got to add, I didn't get to all of our clients. It's going to take me a while to do that. I have all of your guys' information, your onboarding forms, all of that kind of stored. Any notes that we take on our one-on-one calls if you do one-on-one with me. Funnel hack. This is a fun one. You guys want to see my funnel hack folder? Let me show you how I structure this. So like it's basically by person, by offer that I've bought from them. And that one's not a good example. But I have like funnel screenshots. Sometimes I'll have like their a document with all their emails and swipes and ads. Like it's just a kind of like a hub to see how people are marketing. GPTs, these are just the GPTs that I've created. I haven't moved them in yet because I haven't created any new in 2026. But like I have images, instructions, knowledge base. These are all the things that go into the knowledge base. All right. House builds. We have older house builds that we've done. And then we have none in 2026, but one of my goals this year is to do two. Hope to see you guys on one of them. All right, this is life folder. And then this one, this is just like weird stuff that comes with your computer. I didn't know what to do with it. So anyway, I'll leave this up on the screen for a moment. And if you guys are wondering, like, what does that have to do with planning? Do you guys see how this kind of makes sense with time capacity, saving time? I want you guys to be so freaking productive this year where it feels exciting to walk into your workspace and you're like addicted to it in a healthy way, of course. But that'll allow you to work less time, do the right thing. So you guys will see even later how this makes sense and the things I'm going to be having you guys put in some of these folders. Okay. And like I said, work on the ones that you feel like make the most sense for you and staying organized on that. You could also create your Google Drive folders the same way. And it helps keep things organized where you could back them up to the drive, which is the same exact structure. The best way to do that is honestly just when you create a new folder on Google Drive, call it 2026, and you could actually upload. So if I wanted to do this, I would just do this, right? Drive.google, make sure I'm logged into the right account. So let's say I create a folder and it's called 2026. Now I would go to new folder upload. You guys can see I got to do some work here on my computer. Google Drive. I'd find the folders and I would highlight all of them and then just click upload. That's what I would do there. Okay. All right. Last but not least is email. I'd be curious on the pin post, how many, I don't know if you know hours, but like how much time do you spend in email each week? And do you have like a regular spot on the calendar that you check these, or is it kind of like whenever one of those distraction things for you? How much time do you have a cadence? So, and I'm not perfect, but like I do have time I'll put on my calendar that will to be my time slot for the calendar to be in the inbox. But now I don't even need to do that because it's like I usually have like 15 to 30 minutes, but I don't need to do that because of hopefully how well organized I'll be able to keep my emails moving forward. So I'll show you guys a couple hacks that helped me tremendously get to inbox zero. Literally last night, I did this. You know, I wasn't going through a ton of things. It was just doing a couple things that I'll show you today. Or my personal or my business? I'll show you guys my business. It's the same kind of structure for both. So here's what I did. I don't know, I'll show you guys what I had. If I go over here and I click on previous years and I go to 2025, 1700, not horrible, but at some point this year, it got away from me, right? We could probably agree that some have probably way more than that, but some of you guys have way less. But instantly, as soon as I've had this set up over the last year, but I'll show you guys. I want you to set this up right now on whether it's your personal or if you have a business email, you want to do it for both. This has been really, really helpful for me. So this is how I label, and you might have a different labeling system, but there's one of these will be a previous years, and you could just create, and I've done this every year since 2021. You create a folder. So next year I'll create one called 2026, and anything that's left over, I'll just drag into there. So it's not deleting because there might be some stuff I want to go back to or search for, but that's kind of how I structure that. So number one is review. These are like, for example, this one I'm not gonna have time to look at right now. I'm gonna put into review. And ultimately, I'm building this to have a process for bringing on an admin that can help me with this. So that person will know what to look for. Most of the emails I've unsubscribed from a lot of things, first off, and then um, the things I do want to keep, like there's emails on newsletters. I like getting emails from Hormozy, for example, and Ian Stanley. It will automatically go into this folder with a filter. So you can set up a filter, and any email that comes from that person will automatically drop into here. And it'll turn bold and have a one or whatever for on red. So this whole thing will light up bold when I know something's in there. I can go in there, look at that, and then clean that up too. So number one is to review. Once I've reviewed, I might clean this up because like if I'm reviewing, I'm probably responding right away. But if I didn't get a chance to respond, I'll put that into to respond. I understand what's in the email, but I need to respond to it. Or my admin would say, Doug, go respond to this email. And I check that folder. From here, it's responded. If I'm waiting on something, we put waiting on. Other than that, like once it's resolved, we delete it out. Or if it's important, I want to save it for later, I could put it into this one. And then we have financials. I'm probably going to make subfolders in financials. I get like Stripe receipts, affiliate payouts, all that. And I usually just delete them, but I think it is good to have those records. So to do that, I would add subtitle and put in Stripe. I'll call it school stripes. I have multiple school stripes, one from school, one from my funnels, right? Hit create. And now you can see there's a drop down with that folder. And next time I get an email from school stripe, let's pretend it was this one. Check it off, three dots, filter messages like these. And it will say anyone sending an email from this. If I want to get a little more specific here, I can do that. But I'll create filter. And what I usually just do is skip the inbox totally and automatically apply label. And this isn't it was a financial email. I'll put into financials and hit create filter. So now when I check my inbox, I get less stuff cluttering here. And if it's something I know I don't need to look at right away, like a Stripe receipt or something, it'll just go right into the financials folder automatically. So that's just an example of how that can work. So yeah, if you guys pull up Gmail, if you guys don't use Gmail, I'm not sure if you could do this in other ways, but I've just found this to be really helpful. You could make labeling folders. It's pretty simple. Just hit the plus sign here. I'll also show you guys a little ninja hack. It's not that ninja, but go to manage subscriptions. This looks like a lot, you guys, but this was like hundreds of things over the last year I've subscribed to, hundreds. So I've got it down to basically this. But you just hit unsubscribe and it will automatically unsubscribe you from the list right in your inbox, which is neat because I used to just wait for an email, then I would forget to unsubscribe. And just an easy way to see all of your subscriptions and be able to unsubscribe that way. All right, so spend time some point this week or next or somewhere before the new year, cleaning up your inbox, creating these labels, setting up your filters. So I don't think it takes that long. You just hit plus sign. If you want to follow what I'm doing, I learned this from somebody who's really good at inbox zero, and this is review. Hit create. If you want to nest under another label for subfolders, you can choose the folder you want it to be under. So create any order that makes sense to you. How's this feeling? Is this feeling good? Like it's kind of a geeky thing to get excited about, right? I don't know. I was like feeling really good when I'm cleaning this stuff up. It's like when you clean your house or your room, you're like, oh, it feels so good in here. And with what we do now, it will be less chaotic if you just maintain it. I don't think I'll get to it every day. It's on my calendar, but I just know how things get at the end of the day. But at the end of the week, when I do my reflection, this is part of the reflection. Did I clean up my folders? Did I clean up my bookmarks? Did I clean up my inbox? Is there any unfinished business? If there is, and I can't do it right now, let's get it scheduled for the week ahead. We just recalibrate. Time, capacity, and identity. This is the 80-20 rule. I think you guys have heard me talk about this many times, and it is 80% of the results or outputs are created by 20% of the inputs. So if you're doing 100% of the things, 80% of it's time waste. That's just averages, right? So like, I want to help you identify At least, and give you an example of when I think of the year ahead, I know there's a lot of things we need to do as business owners, but when you can just focus on what is absolutely necessary, and people get stuck on things like I need a website, I blog, and if that's your core traffic source, cool. But if it's just one of those nice to haves, it's that's I promise you, it's in the 80% of the waste. 20%, what is bringing in the results? This is what it is for me. And if I didn't have a team, there would be some other things that I'd have to put on this to also maintain some of this. But I want to help you identify what that is. So for me, like, what is my core focus? If I'm doing anything other than this in 2026, then I'm in trouble. It means I'm stepping on my team's feet. Number one is traffic to community. My job is to drive traffic, right? I've built this community. I've got it set up. We got to do a little bit of refinement in the quarter one. It's one of our projects. But for the most part, like, my job is to drive more traffic, get more members in, content, ads, other communities, collaborations from other community owners. Number two is my weekly training. If I could do the most effective thing in my business, it would probably be this, which is get in front of people every week with a free training or webinar and make an offer. In fact, it's probably like something I should do every day. But I think a good cadence in the beginning for anybody is a weekly segment. When I first started in 2019, that's what I did. Weekly free training, get people in a room and say, hey, this is what I'm up to. If you want to come join me, here's the link. And I would just make offers. And if you're not making offers in your business, like, that's probably why you have no results. I do believe helping you plan and being focused, you'll be more confident to make offers because you have more capacity to take on customers and clients. Number three is monthly challenge. I didn't do this for a long time. I started running challenges early on, 2019 a few times, and then 2020 quarterly, and then I went monthly every month, like 21, 22, 23, and we stopped because I kind of fell out of my 20%. I've lost priority and things like that. We're bringing it back this year because I realize I do have much more capacity. When I look at, if you guys did the reflection of your previous year, biggest months, when do you think they were? When we have a live workshop. So monthly 5-day challenge or some kind of virtual event, my job is to run that, fill the room, and host it. If I just spent my time doing these things, and to be honest, like, even number four, I just put as an example, that's something I would have to do if I didn't have a team. But you guys know we have a community manager, challenge assistant, all titles, which we're going to refine this year. And that is my brother, Jeremy. So Jeremy helps me tremendously with this process. But even if I didn't have a team, if I could just create a community, my job is to get members in. I do a weekly training. My job is to get them in a room, send out the replay, right? Host it, send out the replay, and then do some kind of paid event each month and then following up with them. That's going to produce 90+% of your results without websites, without logos, without all the other things we think we need. And obviously these come with other tasks. Like, I need to work on presentations and, that kind of thing, the creation time. And then you have the marketing time. The sales time is you just being live, making the invite one to many, send them over here to invest. And then of course, doing the delivery. So anyway, that's how I think about 80/20. And that's why we're really doubling down. When I think about the calendar and the year ahead, what I want to see is what day is my weekly training. That's on the calendar for every week on my 12-month calendar. And what week am I doing my 5-day challenge? That's going to be on my calendar. The only other things, like, I'm not going to go crazy, put meetings and stuff on this wall calendar, right? We're not doing that today. You want your big picture. What are you doing that's 20% of your effort? You can put project due dates on there. You'll have project due dates before the end of this session. So that's going to be the gist of it. And then you take that and then you calibrate quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily. That goes on your digital calendar, the Google Calendar. And you don't do it all up front. If you could just get January, or better yet, just the first week of January planned out, that's it. And then every Sunday or whatever day you have to go recalibrate and reflect, that's what you'll do in that time slot. Speaking of, it's reflection and calibration. This is what I do on Sunday. And I've refined this a little bit, but when I joined that $5,000 program, the best part of it was meeting on Sundays as a group. And these are the things that we would do together. It was just an accountability call. So he taught us all this stuff. And then I continued to stay in that program with the continuation offer because I liked the Sunday meeting. That's it. It was one day a week. We would get into a group and we would do this for ourselves, but rate yourself 1 out of 10. How well did you stick to everything on your calendar this week? It was never a 10 for me. I don't think it's, even to this day, it's never perfect, but we just want to get a little bit better every week. How well did I manage my energy this week? Sleep, breaks, food, boundaries. How well did I execute my top 3 priorities for the week? If you don't know what your priorities are, that's what we're going to focus on. This is why we're doing this today. You guys will know your priorities. I'll show you how to have them very accessible with the click of a button. They're always in front of you, and there's only 3. Recalibrate. Determine top 3 for next week ahead. Sometimes those previous three carry over. I didn't get to that last one. Let's carry it over. Break it down to blocks on the calendar. So if I know my top three priorities, I also know the focus tasks that go along with that. We break that down, and then those go into the time blocks with detail. Adjust the time blocks to allow for more or less time based on previous feedback. So like I still have this habit, especially meetings. I'm usually there on time, but we can go way over. So that's something I would adjust on Sunday. Say, what can I do to make sure that we have hard stops? Not just for my time, but to respect our clients' time. They're excited to be on a call with me. I love that, but they might have other things to get to. It's kind of selfish of me to keep people on those calls. That's how I'm thinking about it. I know that's not true for everybody, but I do want to have more better boundaries with time. It's a goal. It's not our core goal, but it's a focus point for me in the year ahead. If you guys work with me, I know my weaknesses. I'm very aware of it. I get excited. You guys will see my non-negotiables later. I'm diehard to sticking to them. I want to break patterns. These are habits that I have. I get excited. I start talking about things I'm gonna do, I want to do, and like I'm like I could do this in a week, and I start doing it. I'm like, oh crap, why'd I say that? Kelsey calls me time. It's like a side effect of ADHD. She believes I'm not diagnosed, but there's something to do with that.
It's
And I know I
called
have
time
something
blindness.
time blindness.
Yeah.
And for me, this is why I'm doing this holds me accountable to planning. If you talk to my wife, she did this for corporate for years. And when she first showed it to me, I'm like, I'm not a corporation. I don't need that. And I was already kind of doing some of this stuff, but like this is like a fraction. I think when we plan together, it's even more in depth, but I don't want to like go. Some of you guys might think this is overkill. This is like just the beginning of what it can be. In my opinion, I don't think it has to go much deeper. I think you get down the rabbit hole and it actually becomes like not, I don't want to say over planning, but it's kind of like if you just do this, you're better off than 99% of people that think they're good at planning. But anyway, back to your statement. Yeah, on a weekly basis, I just want to start looking at how much time did I think that task was going to take and what did it take. That way, when I do a future task similar, I adjust for at least that gap, and give myself more, if anything, because that makes me feel good that I'm like ahead. I feel ahead when I gave myself 2 hours and I did it in an hour and a half. And for my life, it's always been the opposite. It's like, give myself an hour, it takes three. And I'm like, I'm so behind. Like we feel behind. So that's one simple thing you could do to adjust and make it feel like you're right on pace, which you are. Clean up your bookmarks, folders, and inbox. So this is where I'm like, oh crap, I forgot to do that on Friday. Let me go fix up my bookmarks. Just make sure they're all clean. If you stick with this every week, it won't take you that long. Bookmarks, folders, inbox, like we just covered. And then update your daily focus document. You guys don't know what that is yet, but you'll see soon. All right. That one document replaced all the crazy, insane softwares I've wasted hours and thousands of dollars on. If you love project management, that's for you. Cool. But most visionary CEOs, I feel like it's not our strong suit. I think it's just simple. It needs to be simple if I'm going to continue to do it. And then, yes, once I get the habit and we're doing this, maybe we move it into ClickUp or something like that as a team. Session one. Oh my gosh, we were not even in session one yet. But you guys find that valuable? Was that helpful to start you think about the pre-work's important stuff? If you guys didn't get to the other things, like I said, this is going to be something you want to do today. Is if you don't have a calendar, let's build that digital calendar out. Let's get it set up. Repeating events, you could do the whole year pretty quickly. And then you just adjust on a weekly basis. Once you have that, you're going to add time slots on that calendar to come back to the pre-work. Look at your next 2 weeks ahead. I know it's Christmas time, but I think it should be a slow week between Christmas and New Year's. Find a little time to like come back to these recordings and optimize the things that I showed you today. You got it started, you know how to do it, and now you're going to go a little bit deeper on it.